Welcome back to the channel. Last video, basically we were just working on the Mx5 and putting all the rust converter on it, and I've let that sit for 24 hours. So then it's ready to be primered all underneath, get it ready for underseal. But before we start doing any primer or red oxide I've got, which I'm going to be using on that, we're going to fix all the rust holes. The main holes are actually in the chassis rails, so both chassis rails are pretty much done. We need to, pretty much rusted through. I'm going to have to chop them out and weld in some new panels. So here's the rust, but you can see this is after 24 hours of the rust converter. You can see it's gone to like a black coating, which is, you can overpaint it, which is good. So we're going to be using some red oxide all over that. But before that, of course, got to fix the chassis rails. So we got a hole, so we're probably going to have to cut from here just before the brackets, and we're going to have to cut all the way to the end. It's quite rotten. So we're going to have to measure that out, and then there's also a hole here we need to fix, and on the other side, this other side's not too bad, but it still needs done. You can't really see a hole at the minute. Well, there's a hole here, gone through one layer of sheet anyway. Same for here, it's gone through a layer, but there's like 2 layers in there. But the underside is collapsing, so it's all rusted through here. I can put my hand in there. So what I'm going to do is measure from here to where the bolts are, because I don't actually have pre-made chassis rails. I'm going to have to make them myself. So I'm just going to measure these 2 bolts. These are the only ones I really care about. These 2 and 2 on the other side, which I want them to be in the correct position, as the anti-roll bar connects up to this, bracket connects up to this, and then the anti-roll bar comes off it. So if that's off, it's gonna mess with anything. So we want to keep that in the same spot, but the rest of the holes, it doesn't really matter too much if they're not completely accurate. So as long as we get these 2 lined up as well, we should be fine. I'm just gonna measure, and then once it's measured, the positions of these, I'm just gonna cut it out, and then we can work from there. Right, so I got it all cut out. We got to good metal here. We just need to clean up the inside, but the rest is pretty good. And here's the piece that I cut out. You can see the big holes in there, very rusted. We do need to reuse this. This is the mount for the anti-roll bar. So at some point I've got to get this bracket off. But I want to do that near the end. What I'm going to do now though instead is going to clean up the inside, get it ready to be, just clean up all the rust on the inside, so it just helps it prevent it from rusting anymore. And then I will start shaping up the metal, cutting new metal in. This metal's 2 mil thick, so it should be thick enough for the chassis rail. It's a lot thicker than standard, but there is 2 sheets of on the chassis normal chassis rails, so I think they are like at max 0.8 mil or 1 mil, so 2 mil here is going to be perfectly fine. Okay, so I got this all bent up. Took a while because it's really thick metal, so it's 2 mil thick, and it's pretty much just gonna line up on this. I do need to trim a bit off. It's gonna sit in there and flush, and then I'll just weld it in. So this part here, I need to cut to that shape to match there, so it sits in that. So it sits in nicely. So I'm just gonna measure that up and then start cutting that out. And then I should be able to just hold this in place and start welding it in. Just welded in the new nuts for the bolts on the outside to connect to for the anti-roll bar bracket. So I've got the 2 done here, and then next I have to put the 2 on here to for the other side as well. Right, so I've just finished making the chassis rail. We've got the brackets made up now, welded in, so it's able to just so this here is just gonna sit up here like that. Can't really see because it's pretty dark over here, but you get the idea. And then on the other side, just fit on like that some way. If you can line it up, pretty much like that. But before I start welding it in, I'm just gonna paint the inside with some weld through primer just to protect it, and then I'll probably, once it's welded on, get some under seal inside of it. So I just finished welding, and then I ground the metal down a bit, so it's pretty smooth. I've welded the other side as well. I'm just gonna put some red oxide on here just to help it prevent it from rusting while I'm doing the other chassis rail. You can see there's the bracket there, and we've got 2 matching lined up here. Right, this side's pretty much done. I just put some red oxide and some seam sealer on the seam, just to clean it up a little bit, and that part's going to be under sealed as well, so it's going to look, you're not even going to notice that. So I'm just going to go ahead, do the exact same thing on this side, cut out the metal or wherever it's bad, and make a new rail up and start welding it in. Right, so both sides are now done, both the chassis rails, red oxide and seam sealer over the top, which I'm then going to seal again with, I'm going to paint the whole primer, or fix all the rust up here, and paint over it, paint it the same original green. I'm not sure what the actual name of the colour is, but I know it looks greenish colour. This side is done as well. You can see got the 2 bolt holes there for the bracket, for the anti-roll bar bracket. Same on this side, as well as the 2 here, but there is 2 meant to go here, which I'll do for the ABS, but I'll do at later on. It's not needed yet because I don't need to weld any nuts on it. I'm just gonna drill a hole and put a riv nut in there because it doesn't need to be that strong. Usually they sometimes after a while start turning the riv nuts, so we didn't want to put them in here for the brackets because we want them, don't want to have any trouble trying to get them out. But for the ABS it's not too bad because it doesn't need that much, it doesn't need to be that tight to hold in. It's just a little bracket to hold up the ABS. So that's it all pretty much done. Pretty much all for this video, and going to be moving on to fixing the rear, sorting out the messiness on the rear sills. We have welded them before, it's just we haven't put any filler to clean it up, and then we need to paint it up, which probably do it in the next video. But for this video that's pretty much it. New chassis rails done, no more rust at the front, except for one piece which I'll do probably in the next video. Just need to cut out a piece of metal here. If it focuses, yeah, just a bit here. Need to cut out a little plate and then plate it in there, and then that's all the front. Then we'll have no rust, and then we're getting closer to being able to underseal the whole car. But yeah, the next one is going to be looking at we need to work on these sills. So it's pretty smooth, it's just we only put primer on, so obviously the primer is not the best at keeping the surface rust, so I'm just going to sand it down a bit and sand down here, clean it all up, and then start putting some filler, and then we can start shaping it up to make it blended in. But that's in the next video, and that's all for now. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.